Oh yeah, welcome to Griff's Nighty Night, Series 2, Episode 3. Bit of a trial run this. I don't imagine this is gonna make it to air. I'm doing all my technical stuff, doing all the faffing about and basically, deflecting, and that's what it's all about. I'm doing anything I can to get to the point where all there is you and me chatting. And yeah, I've avoided nearly a minute. Now, how are we, eh? What am I trying to achieve? What's the plan, yeah? What is the plan? Am I just trying to save myself? Or am I hoping I can bring a few with me? I've had a few nice comments, because there's been a few bits of input onto YouTube. Now I know at this stage of the game, people answered to me, Griff, that last video was just so insightful, well researched, delivered. And I will take the lessons I've learned from that lecture, apply them to my life, and almost certainly improve matters beyond recognition. I haven't had those sorts of comments yet, understandably so, It's just tentative steps. Now, as I've tried to explain, I don't consider myself, depressed out of respect to people who, are sort of clinically depressed, I know there is a form of depression which I've seen and sort of felt myself where, you literally can't get out of bed, you literally can't, and all that other stuff, so I wouldn't consider myself depressed, but I've been unhappy generally for a long time. Now, anybody who's felt that way, especially when you've got children, it just makes you feel guilty that, how can you be blessed with a child and still, you don't feel like you fit into your own body? And I don't mean on a Buffalo Bill style, I just mean, it's not even the body, it's the mind, innit? It's the mind. I think sometimes we forget how much we speak to ourselves. Which, a little bit of advice, if ever you're in Dagestan, don't whistle in public, and don't show the bottom of your feet. If you're sitting, having a coffee, rested up or whatever. Where in Dagestan, they don't want to see the bottom of your feet, and they don't want to hear you whistling in public. And if you do, there's every chance that they'll kick fuck at you. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to bring the Nighty Nights back, and I used to like doing the lectures a while back. If anybody's new, feel free to, my back catalogue on here is completely free of charge. Most artists, especially in the lecturing game, some of the charges for back catalogues, I used to listen to Floella Benjamin a lot, She was basically, fighting the war on drugs single-handedly at one point. And I used to listen to a lot of Floella Benjamin's podcasts. And then she just started charging £88 an episode. Which obviously priced me out of the market. And I've lost that insight, purely because of a lack of 88. But good luck to her though, because some of the stuff, I think that's why the charges become so astronomical, because some of the explanations she was given, her knowledge of artificial intelligence, military grade weaponry, especially in the development stage. Benjamin knows it all. It's a little known fact that her great-grandson is Benjamin Button, and he's her dad. But they don't like talking about that, obviously, for sort of semi-racist reasons. Probably. I'm looking to make a film with there's a company called Ginger Duff Productions. Now, if you've been taking my YouTube career seriously, he was the lad who filmed my original hole-in-one, during a small advert I was doing for foot golf. Not for any particular, branch, just for the game in general. I was asked to make a video by the Foot Golf Association, just a quick little vignette, really. So, I just showed some clips of, great. That's completely unprofessional, how I bounce back from this, I'll never know. Bravely gonna try. Yeah, so the nighty nights, it's a form of therapy for me as well, Hopefully we can have a sort of more of a heart-to-heart, as time goes on. I'm trying to not explain. I'm trying to work out for myself, what happened to me, what happened to me, because I've had a spell of about, I'd say, 6 years, where a spell of about 6 years where, basically where God's had his size 12 boot on my neck, pinned me down. Obviously I refused to tap out. But yeah, I speak to quite a lot of people at the moment. There's a lot of there's a lot of genuine sadness about in my community. We've lost somebody lately. Obviously, I don't want to discuss that, but I do have to acknowledge the fact, that somebody who was very much loved by a lot of people is no longer with us. Which has caused a great deal of sadness, as I say, for a lot of people. Ties in slightly, I suppose, with what I'm trying to discuss here. Why are there a lot of unhappy people? I think I touched on it last night, but I wasn't really qualified to speak. As I say, I've been given some anti-anxiety tablets this week, which I've sort of been testing out now and again. Not one of these situations where I've been given them by somebody who's had sort of 7-8 years of medical training. I think somebody swapped these tablets for a bit of weed or something. But I did a bit of research, and on the primarily for anti-anxiety, so I thought I'd give them a whirl, but they have helped with my anxiety, but they sort of, put my mind down to about, I don't know, 70% of the speed it works, which is the problem I had when I did try antidepressants. I've always been a believer in, if you're, depressed, and I didn't just do that, did I? But if you just, if you are, consider yourself sort of depressed in inverted commas, I use the term loosely. Now, obviously, there's things that need to be done first, like eating, sleeping, etc. You need to do these things, to tie in, to give yourself a chance. Now, don't get me wrong, there are people living the perfect life who, for whatever reason, just get depressed. I'm not saying that money can prevent clinical depression, but I do think money can assist in a person who feels, depressed. But the rest of their life is a complete mess. So, without attacking the rest of your life, I really don't see the point in taking antidepressants. But then again, some people can't find any motivation to do these sort of things you need to do to chirp yourself up. Without the antidepressant angle. See, look, that's enough to fucking push a man over the edge, innit? I've set this up lovely. I've got my blue tack in place. And for whatever reason, it's just letting me down, It's just letting me down. Bear with me, because I know, if one thing I'm not, is a quitter of drugs. Well, that's not true, actually. At the beginning of this year, 2018, I thought, right, it's time to, put the artificial inseminators away. And things are going great for a while, but I don't naturally find the clean and sober life easy. A lot easier than the alternative, but it's hard to see it at the time, where there is a sort of a way out. But yeah, there's a lot of people I speak to struggling at the moment. A lot of, I'm 50 next year. Obviously a lot of my peer group are around about the same age. Bear with me, because I'm trying to find something with my hands now, without my eyes, which hasn't nearly happened. Yeah, a lot of people my age. Now, it's a funny age, isn't it, when you get to about 50, because I think by that age, as youngsters, I think that, I can only speak for myself. I can't even do it half the time, but as I once said, nobody told me there'd be decades like these. Strange days indeed, all peculiar, mama. Right, you are going to have to bear with me for a second. This is sort of an unofficial break, okay? So what I will actually do, pop this on for you. beautiful, beautiful scenes. Right, yeah, well, as some of you, will have known, that would have broken into Only Love Can Break Your Heart. Which is true, I think. I think my own personal problems. Now, let me try and word this correctly. I think this sort of spell of, as I say, not depression, sadness, and an inability to feel like I fit in anywhere. I do think it began, well, not strictly because I've had issues all my life, but I went through a relationship breakdown sort of many years ago now, and it had an absolutely devastating effect on me, if I'm honest, which I'm trying to come back from. And I'm not too proud to admit it. I take about 98% of the blame for the whole shebang not working out. But my point is, rather than my personal circumstances, especially when you've got children involved, I've got a lot of mates with kids, and the relationship was broken down. Majority of the time, the children end up with their mums. And that can take you from, a family man, doing your family things on a daily basis, and you can just absolutely have the rug pulled out from underneath you. And before you know it, you go from, making your kids breakfast on a daily basis, taking them to school, chatting away, blah, 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 to, suddenly having to find somewhere to live, trying to keep that bond going with your kids in an alien environment, and whilst dealing with a sort of broken heart, I suppose the word is, if you've come out of a relationship that you actually wanted to be in. And, they don't teach you that in school, do they? They don't teach you in school. They teach you not to put all your eggs in one basket in home economics. I remember him saying that to me. Me being a pedantic twat turned up the following week with 6 separate baskets with 1 egg in each basket, and these were proper sort of, home economics baskets where you could probably carry most of your basic ingredients, they were that big. But I turned up with sort of 5 to 6 separate baskets with an egg in each, and didn't go down well. And I said, you said don't put all your eggs in one basket. Apparently it was just a figure of speech, So I used to like home economics in school, and funny enough, my youngest daughter turned into a wonderful young fairy cake maker. Fair play. Going back to the point in hand. Has anybody suffered a relationship breakup which has had an extreme detrimental effect on you? Obviously, if a relationship breaks down, then it's going to be sad and this, that, and the other. But and it's happened a few times, where I've relationship with the mother of my children hasn't worked out, and you're going to really start again, which I found myself, doing again over the last sort of 5 years. I did work out that by the time my youngest daughter is 18, which will be in 2028, I would have been dealing with ex-partners from well, the turn of the century until 2020. So the best part of 30 years I would have had of dealing with ex-partners, you know, in one shape or form, regarding the bends, as they call them. What you will find as well, when you first break up with somebody, they don't tend to, you know, it's not the peak of their feelings for you at that point, positively, you know. So it can be tricky, and as I say, I'm not dull. I'm fully aware that I must be a very, very difficult person to deal with, especially in those circumstances. But, you know, the byproduct of these breakdown in relationships is it can, you know, especially if you have put all your eggs in one basket, this relationship breakdown, which, you know, it seems commonplace nowadays, isn't it? It can leave a lot of sort of people living alone. I may have touched on this last night. It's not a natural situation, you know, to be living on your own. We evolved as tribes, yeah, for good reason. You know, and I think to flourish as a human being, I think, you know, you need to be with your tribe, or at least create your own. Very, very difficult. Outside of that, you know, I got a great family, but for one reason or another, I don't get on with a certain member, which makes it difficult, you know, for me to see a lot of the rest. And I know of people who've become ostracized, you know, from their family or certain members, and, you know, these things can drag on for decades. Absolute decades, you know. And I've always been stubborn enough to go for that as well. Especially if I think I'm at least 9% in the right. But yeah, the point is, you know, what's the worst thing they can do to people in prison, yeah? Solitary confinement and that. And, you know, what you'll find, like addiction, for example. Addiction likes to isolate people, you know. If you're in the throes of addiction, it's very easily to sort of, or very easy to ostracize yourself from life, really, you know, in general, which is a extremely difficult place to be. I'm not sure of the figures, but especially for like senior citizens, you know, there are millions of senior citizens probably living on their own. A lot of them who don't see anybody from one day to the next, and it's a totally unnatural scenario. I've often thought, you know, of getting my sort of single friends, you know, the long-term bachelor types, who are either there through, you know, a broken heart, retention of love for said original missus, you know, as Nat King Cole said, when I fall in love, it'll be forever. Now, for some muppets like myself, that is sort of near enough true, you know. So when said baby mother blew it, basically, you know, and so she had to finish me. And no, I forgot my point. But yeah, there's a lot of people living alone. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. I've always, I got this theory or this plan or whatever that, you know, if I was to take, you know, 10 single friends of mine, and rather than us all live alone in our sort of our little cages, what we should do is team up, and then between the 10 of us sort of live some sort of life of Riley in a mansion somewhere and split the costs. And then, you know, arrange the mansion into a sort of fashion that suits everybody. You know, with a common room, snooker table, darts, etc. You know, all these things for socialising, and then you can all eat together, cook together, you know, live together, break bread and all that. You know, point being, there's a lot of people living a completely unnatural life from the way we evolved, myself included. And when you stop just playing along with the, you know, with the game, with the pattern that's been set out for you from birth to death, once you stop and think, whoa, hang on a minute, what the fuck's this all about? You know, it is, it can be tricky to find your place, you know. If, you know, if you are sort of, if you are aware that's not right. So, yeah, what do you do? 10 of you share a room, or share a house, mansion, living style, football goalposts out the garden, you know, between, you know, I'm talking about creative people, yeah. You know, I'm talking about a lot of creative people I know who've sort of lost their way, really lost their way, and, you know, I'm not particularly creative. I'd like to be. I just haven't really found my forte. I can't sort of draw. Wanted it to be stand-up for a while, but it's not the sort of industry I want to be part of the way it's developed. For example, I wrote a joke recently. I'm not really into black girls. I have enough trouble not hitting white girls. Now, for people who understand jokes, yeah, the point of the joke is that it's a really unacceptable thing to say, you know, but that's what makes it a joke, yeah. Obviously it can come across as sexist. It, I'm saying, encourages sort of violence or domestic violence or whatever, but it's, you know, definitely got a hint of that. But the point is, it's a joke, yeah. You know, obviously, it makes no odds to me the colour of the skin you slap with. You know, that'd be fucking daft. But try telling that joke down the campus. You wouldn't be very, very welcome for long, you know. So yeah, the comedy industry, it's not for me. Probably just want to concentrate on my lecturing career, I think, now. You know, I used to love doing these podcasts, not the video element, just audio. And then I could go and see my producer, KD Lang, and he would take care of all the sound effects. It used to be funny, actually, because I used to have no idea what he was going to put on. So sometimes I'd be, I'd be hearing them at the same time as you. Bear with me, I'm just trying to do one thing at once here. I'm struggling. Yeah, but as I say, thanks for the encouragement I've got from a few people to continue doing this. I'm not going to pretend I'm at my best. And if anybody's listened from the start to finish, I take my hat off to you, But as I say, it's just I've isolated myself from the world apart from my kids, And I went to see my eldest kids yesterday, and 3 of them happened to be in the same place. And when we said farewell, I gave my son a kiss on the cheek. He's bigger than me, he's a lump of a boy. But he'll give me a kiss. My eldest daughter, she's always prepared to offer me her cheek. Not her chopsy cheek, but, her cheek for a kiss goodbye. My middle daughter's always up for a cuddle. And, my youngest daughter, she'll have a cuddle if she's Harry Kane and she's just scored a goal and we're on the same side. She's more than happy. But the fact that I have an affectionate relationship with my children gives me great hope. I've never been the greatest of father in practical terms. But the fact that I do still have an ongoing relationship with my children makes everything worthwhile, really. Very loyal. They accept me for the twat I can be. And, and as I do them, they try and encourage me. Just to try and enjoy life, really. So it's all about whenever we want to enjoy it, more than we don't enjoy it. What I'll try and formulate my thoughts a little bit more succinctly next time, but as I say, I don't want to be depressing about anything, but I don't want to lie, about what's going on in and around my head. But yeah, there's lots of ways, lots of things that could push you over the edge. As I say, in my case, it was probably a failed relationship. And as I say, nobody's, fault. Nobody cheated or anything. It was just a combination of things, which I didn't deal with very well, really. Which probably, caused it. And potentially, subconsciously, maybe I made it happen so I could subject myself to the 5 years of pain that goes with it. I think with addiction, there's a lot of element of sort of self-harming, to addiction, etc. I see a lot of things these days. They're just different forms of self-harming, because, well, from my personal experience, I've bought into this chit-chat that goes on in my head, and can sometimes sort of wrongly convince myself that the voice in my head saying all these things to the listener in my head, I sometimes falsely put the talking voice in my head who wants to tell everybody what's what and how much of a cunt we all are. I've allowed that sort of voice to, go into some sort of a foreman role But what I should be doing, rather than taking orders from this fucking retard, I just need to monitor him, just to find out exactly what the fuck he's trying to achieve, because he's getting nowhere, with a view to silencing this twat once and for all, and then something nearer to who I consider myself will grab the reins, sail off into the sunset, you know. Well, that's a plan anyway. Well, let's see if we can go on a bit of music. Point being, look after your loved ones. If you're loved, feel it. If you're not, talk about it. Don't know if YouTube will cut this out. If I keep making some strange beepity beeps. Maybe I can fool the box. It's all about perspective, guys, isn't it? But yeah, as ever, all dedicated to my four warriors. Look after yourselves, guys. Love you all.